So today we're doing a Ragnarok Q&A, and I appreciate all you guys that went and put a comment on this post that I put up yesterday. We got a ton of comments, a ton of good questions to choose from, so we're going to pick through a few. And make sure you're subscribed and keep a keen eye out for posts like this where I ask the community questions. So next time you can potentially get your question answered on the next Q&A. So let's start off with an easy one. This one's from Killua. My question is, what happened to the roster and the story when Buddha switched sides? So when Buddha switched sides, it wasn't just simply a situation where the gods had to replace one fighter, they have to replace two. I talk about this ad nauseum, but because Buddha fought one of the gods on the roster, Bishamon, taking the place of Zero Fuko, because Bishamon is one of the pieces, one of the 7 lucky gods that makes up Zero Fuko, 2 gods from the roster are eliminated in one round. Therefore, Buddha switching sides makes it impossible mathematically for all humanity's fighters to fight unless there is a draw and another god is added to the roster. That is why you hear so many people saying they think that this round is going to be a draw. It's because we're all under the assumption that all humanity's fighters are going to get their opportunity, and that's only going to be possible if there is a draw, forcing the gods to add another person, because it's not simply about beating all the opponents, it's the first to 7. So if no draw takes place, somebody will get to 7 before humanity can send out all their fighters. This is an interesting question here from All You Can See. Do you think that the gods have shown an adequate amount of divine feats like Beelzebub or Zeus? So the short answer to this is no. I don't think that the gods have been done justice as far as the divine feats that they should have. Like, for instance, I would have been 100% supporting of Poseidon fighting with water. The arena was filled with water for some reason, but it was never used in the actual fight. I don't like things like that. I would like them to use the powers that we know of in myth, but it does seem that Ragnarok had to nerf all the gods down, and it seems like they give them 1 or 2 special abilities. Same with humanity, where they usually have their Volund ability, and then a lot of the humans have like 1 innate ability as well, like Jack the Ripper's emotion sensing eye or Adam's divine reflection. So I think like the author's goal is to just try to simplify things. Like if you get into all the abilities, it would be very hard for humanity to counter it. Like what are they gonna do with a monsoon or tsunami flying down at them? It kind of has to be like a martial arts style fight. They do give the gods some hints toward these things, like Thor has used lightning. Obviously in Apocalypse of the Gods, you see Ra using some kind of heat-based ability that kind of nerfs the opponent. But all these things were kind of positioned in a way to make it so they are things that can be combated with like actual fighting. Obviously you're not gonna have a human like coming up with like an ice wall to fucking match somebody's tsunami, right? You have like just weapons that have specific abilities, and that's kind of the chess game that's being played, where Hilda goes out there with Lu Bu and tries to give him shield breaker to break Thor's gauntlets because she thinks that the gauntlets are what allows Thor to wield his hammer. Like I said, short answer, no. I would love to see more divine feats. It's just a hard concept to do when you're doing gods versus humanity. So the next one we got from Billy the Platypus, and he's basically asking, are Adam's eyes of the Lord able to let him mimic other human fighters with or without Volund, or does it just work for the gods? Now this question kind of always confuses me because I've seen other people ask this question before, and it's like, why wouldn't he be able to? So I think people get caught up in the verbiage of Hilda saying he can copy any divine technique, but they kind of throw common sense out the window. Throughout the entire story, it's pushed to us that divinity is above humanity in terms of a hierarchy of skills. Okay, so we have this precedent set. When somebody is able to copy divine techniques, the reason it's so crazy is because copying divine techniques should be impossible for human limitations. This is highlighted upon in Suji's fight, where they talk about how he has surpassed humanity, exceeded human logic, and flew as high as the heavens, and it pierced the boundary between humanity and God. Therefore, it's like he has now ascended to where his techniques are truly divine. Then you have directly in that fight, somebody like Susanoo using a technique called the Godly Myriad, where he is literally taking all the stances of humanity's greatest swordsmen and turning them into like one unified wall of techniques, right? So it's a situation where Adam, right, he can copy any divine technique, so he could copy Susanoo's Godly Myriad, which is just a compilation of all the best stances of humanity. So yeah, absolutely, Adam could copy any human fighter. It's just a situation where divinity is seen as, in Record of Ragnarok, whether true or false, right, depending on who the opponent is, but on a baseline general level, divinity is seen at a higher standard to humanity. Therefore, copying divine techniques is more impressive than copying humanity's techniques. But if he's capable of copying divine techniques, he can copy humanity's technique. And it's even basically just told to you in Adam's own explanation, where they explain his technique, why he can even do this, right? Hilda explains the goal. Have you forgotten about the birth of Adam, the progenitor of humanity? So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, humans. Adam is a copy of God. He can perfectly duplicate any divine technique he sees, right? So Adam was the reflection of God. All of humanity are Adam's children in Record of Ragnarok. Therefore, they are all like humanity, as they say them, they are the reflection of God. They just don't have the same peak. They don't have the same peak. Like, that's why there's human limitations and divine limitations, right? That's why they talk about like everything I just talked about. So yes, humanity techniques are just a subsect of divine techniques. They're the reflection of God. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully it made a lot of sense, and we can move on from that. Next, we have a question from K3NYT. Do I think the character Belial in Apocalypse of the Gods will have the same kind of OP connection to Satan, just like Beelzebub does? No, I don't, because basically what we're told is that Beelzebub effectively is Satan. It's either a situation where he is Satan or Satan is confined within him. Basically, it was a situation where, Beelzebub studied and researched. He couldn't find any information about Satan. He has nobody to talk to about any of this stuff. And Satan always comes out when he comes to a relationship that is too loving or too close. Now, Beelzebub legitimately says, I am Satan. I guess you could take an interpretation where you think maybe Satan is split amongst other demons in the demon realm. I never got that impression. So, I don't want to just completely say it's impossible, but from what I have read in this, it seems like they're telling us that either Beelzebub has a split personality where he's been Satan the entire time, and perhaps maybe it's some kind of coping mechanism where he splits his personality and this just kind of is a effect that transpires, or it's a situation where Satan, the entity, is stuffed within Beelzebub, something like Karama. But since we don't really ever see Satan and Beelzebub talking, I really kind of just feel like Beelzebub is meant to be Satan. They even kind of say when you think of the name Beelzebub, you think of the Lord of the Flies and Satan. Then, they talk about Baal and Zebul, the two faces. Beelzebub's whole kind of character is the left hand is defense, the right hand is offense, or it might be flipped. But yeah, they give you that whole montage of the Lord of the Flies, Baal and Zebul. I think that that's kind of Beelzebub. I think that one face of his is Beelzebub and the other face is Satan, and together they're one being. So I don't think that Belial will have a connection to Satan. Next one is from Lord Hades. Do I think that Zeus and Odin will come to blows outside/behind the scenes of the tournament? And do I think Odin will join a temporary alliance with Adamas to take out Zeus, just to turn on him and kill him as well? I don't remember if I still have the video up. I think I do, but I actually made a theory about this where I said that if Apollo had lost and Zeus was at rock bottom, Adamas would have been one of the last remaining family members he had that we really got any prominence of in the story. And Adamas is clearly added to the story for a specific purpose. It's like Chekhov's gun. Adamas is not one of the initial gods of Olympus in any myth. He's one of the rare, fully made up characters in this series. So there has to be a reason for his existence within the story. So I came up with the idea Adamas, he's this character that we kind of laugh at and doesn't really have much significance, but imagine if Adamas was the conduit to Odin finally putting down Zeus, where Adamas gets so close to him, maybe Odin grants Adamas some kind of power to be able to do it, sneak Zeus or something like that, or something along those lines. And I still do think that Adamas has some role to play, because again, why was he added to the story? Maybe you think that his importance was simply just to give Poseidon a kill and give Hades some development for reviving him, etc., but I do think that he does still have some prominence. Not sure what that is just yet, but we do know he still obviously wants Qin Shi Huang dead. He has ties to Beelzebub, so there's a lot more he's gonna do in the story. As far as do Odin and Zeus come to blows, I do think that there will be a point in time where Zeus reveals that he's been suspicious of Odin, if not outright understanding of Odin's plan. I think that that was pretty much alluded to in the garden, where Zeus says things aren't really going according to plan, are they, god of the Norse? And he kind of looks at him suspiciously, and then Odin has his back turned and is smiling. I think Zeus has an idea of what's happening, but Zeus loves the chaos and loves fighting so much. I think he kind of just wants to see how everything plays out. I'd like to see them fight. I'm not sure if they'll come to physical blows. I'd like to say it's definitely possible, but Odin might sacrifice himself for the primordial awakening, or maybe awakens himself and like he becomes a primordial, so to speak, or maybe absorbs the primordial power. Then Zeus could be involved in the fight for sure. But I do kind of think that Odin is going to be vanquished by somebody not named Zeus, like Siegfried potentially, or whoever Hilda villains with, or maybe Gol, whoever she villains with. Odin is the Valkyries' antagonist, the main antagonist really of Ragnarok. Now, if we go into a primordial god war subsect, I kind of think it'll be like a Kengan Omega effect, where I do think that Ragnarok probably ends with the tournament, that series, and then potentially we kick off into a secondary series like Kengan Omega from Kengan Ashura. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes. We're kicking off into the end game right now. All the plans are being laid. We're going to get a ton of information about that this month, about what his true goal is. So perhaps we'll have more insight after this month. But that's going to do it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I can't get to all the questions. We'll definitely do more Q&As in the future. And some of these, to be honest, they require more time than one of these videos. So I might do like a whole video dedicated to some of these things. So I definitely appreciate all the ideas you guys send out there and appreciate all the questions. Stay tuned for more opportunities like this to get your question answered. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.